afternoon. It's Monday, 3 p.m. I'm in Orlando, Florida. For those international folks, I got the fountain in the background. Not sure if you can hear that or not. Maybe not. Anyhow, and this is a family vacation, so who knows what kids or wife or daughter, son-in-law stuff might come into the background. We'll see what happens. Anything's possible. Well, if you're watching this on Restream, welcome. You should watch it live. Join us in the community in the chat, because this is definitely made to be a live program. In fact, just as we found last week, many of the domain names that we will talk about actually, they're gone by the end of the show. So if you're not watching live, you may very well miss out on an opportunity that to get a domain name that is just the perfect digital real estate for you to build whatever dreams, whatever your imagination has, and whatever profit is possible for whatever enterprise or hobby, whatever it is. So as I mentioned, I'm in Orlando, and I travel quite a bit, and I live this really odd life. Most people wouldn't, I think most people dream of having the freedom and flexibility that I get to have. I travel probably once a week, or 1 week out of each month. And why? For the most part, because I want to. It's not a requirement. I choose to go places or choose to do things. And when I'm in the office, it's because I choose to be in the office. And all of that is made possible by domain names and developing domain names. And when I do this show, it is by choice, because I want you to be able to make whatever it is, the life that you have in mind, the amazing life that you want for yourself. So that's what we're after here. We're after not Drew's idea of an amazing life, your ideal life, as it can be created by domain names. Beautiful thing about digital real estate is you don't have to be present, right? You don't, I've owned lots of real estate. I've been a landlord, hated it, sold almost all of it off because it required me to be there, and when I wasn't there, I was trying to travel, and I'd be getting calls, texts, videos one time of just craziness happening in my properties. And I'm like, I'm not there. Not much I can do about it. You're going to have to call somebody else. Don't have to worry about that with domain names. As long as you have an internet connection, whatever it is, you're good to go. So that's what we're after. That's what I'm wanting to present to you. So what would you do if we could find a great domain name that you can develop, whether it's complex or simple, $1,000 a month, $500 a month, if you can generate that while being passive and not having to be active in it, what would that do for you? What kind of life would that allow you to live? For me, I remember when I was making $800 a month from my domain projects, and luckily I was a college kid, and man, we threw some really cool parties and things with that money and lived like kings, because it was just that passive cash flow. I want that for you. So let's see if we can find some domain names that will allow you to do that. That's what we're after, right? Well, let's get going on things. I'm going to play the credits. So if you haven't already, say hi to the chat. Make sure the community knows you are here. Lots of amazing people in the chat that join us each week. We want you to be one of them. So make sure you say hi. Let them know where you're coming from. We'll see you on the other side.
From domain to profit, from a .com to a business idea. Take a domain name, develop an income. From domain to profit, we'll show you how. Domain to profit, from domain to profit. Join Drew Walsh and get started right now.
Okay, I'm heading over to the chat, and I see Fred's like, hey, everyone, it seems like we're in a visit for the Magic Domain Kingdom in Orlando. Yeah. Hopefully this isn't like trademark infringement, but yeah, I've got the Mickey ears here. Is this considered special effects? Yeah, all the junk. Could you imagine how much money they make off of this stuff? Like just, I think this thing's like $30. That should have been my thumbnail. But yeah, we're could be bubbles flying around the rest of the thing. But yeah, in Orlando, in fact, we closed down Magic Kingdom, even though they had like really cold temperatures. It was miserable. But glad to have you here. Let's see here. Jake, saying hi to Lee, which Lee, awesome to have you as well, which you're here somewhere. Oh my goodness, so many people coming in that it's hard to keep. And there's, whew. Michael, nice to have you as well. Hugh, hey guys. In good vibes, indeed. Although I know that's an emoji, but I can't see it in chat. Kimberly, nice to have you back as well. And Dominic, welcome back, man. I haven't seen you in a little bit, so glad to have you here. We are going to talk about domain names. So what does that look like for us? That is going to look like us hopping out to expireddomains.net, which if you are not familiar with expireddomains.net, it is a free website. You can go there, and I don't run it. I have nothing to do with it. It's just such a cool tool that I want to make sure that you know about it because, well, it allows you to find expired domain names, and those are that's the gold. That's the gold we're digging. Those are the mine. So I'm on one laptop, no fancy buttons to switch between things. So let's go over here. So here you go. This expireddomains.net, and yours will look different, but you'll have to set up a free account. And we are going to spend our time, as we do each week, over here in the Marketplace domain tabs. So head on over there. So what do you think? Should we spend some time on let's go check Dropcatch real quick. I haven't checked Dropcatch in a while. So I believe if we order this by, if you order it by price, you're going to find these drop domain names. Drop domains are going to be the ones that are up for auction. So Dropcatch is an interesting one that we don't use too much on the show, but as an experienced domain investor, especially, you'll want to be familiar with it. Dropcatch allows you to put back orders on domain names, and when that domain name deletes or drops, they will grab it, and if multiple people have a back order on it, it goes up for auction, which is what we see here for most of these. You'll see some private seller ones in here as well. They allow that. We don't concentrate on private seller ones too much. So we're going to filter these out. And what are the filters we're going to set up? We use the same ones every single week because they're pretty darn good and let us find some treasure in the middle of all the domains. So we're going to set up no numbers, no hyphens. There's not too many domain names, certainly no kind of generic domain names that we use for development that have numbers or hyphens. We're going to set up English 1 to 3 words. Of course, if you work in other languages, feel free to use them. We're going to go over here and set the ends in 7 days. And that's just so we can keep it fresh. And next week, we can talk about the other ones. Then we're going to go over, I'm pointing at my screen, but you can't see it. Then we're going to go over to that additional tab and select the .com only. So speaking of .com only and why we do .com only, by chance, do you know? Do you know why we're .com only? I certainly do. We're .com only because it's the best. It's the best. You can certainly build on any different extension for a domain name. The only thing is you're always going to wish you had the .com. And I just saw a tweet recently. Let me see if I can pull this up. I'll pull it up maybe later on. But essentially, it was somebody that said, hey, we built on a .io. They were very successful. And then they got the .com finally, and it just exploded their business. So .com is king. Get your .com. And what we're going to look to specifically are .com domain names. Instead of starting something on a different domain name, start on the primary property. And maybe you don't have an idea yet. Maybe you don't know a business you want to start. Well, the domain name can decide that for you. It can help you figure out what business to create. Just like I took a domain name. I didn't have anything to do with towing, but I bought towing.com, and turned it into a business. The domain name came first. That I had an idea, got the domain name, but in general, like the domain name decided what was on it. The same thing's going to happen with the domain names we find today. And I am going to be seeing these for the first time with you. I've not really looked through them yet. So we're going to set up these filters, apply them. And because I've not looked through them, there's a chance that it's real trash. So we'll find out. Let's see. I like draw dropping is a good domain name, not something you would likely buy for the sake of development. I could see it being something like jaw dropping, shocking type stuff. The only thing is how would you monetize it if you were to buy jawdropping.com? Jaw dropping, right? Shocking. Maybe you could do new as seen on TV products or something. Find my page down button. Okay, does the fountain, there's like I have the door open behind me and there's a fountain. It's going to put me to sleep just listening to it. I don't know if it shows up in the stream or not. Oh, let me zoom in. Apologies. We're only going to look down through a couple screens here, just because essentially we don't want to, because this is drop catch, we can't really count on finding. They have a limited inventory, so it's either going to be at the top or it's going to be something we're going to pass on. So we're going to just give it a couple more page downs. Low car price. Should we start with that one? I don't have a second screen this time, so I can't keep up with chat unless I go back and forth. Okay. Well, let's go and let's check out lowcarprice.com. We'll see what it's going for. So I'm clicking on the domain name. The nice thing about clicking on the domain name, which you should, is that is giving credit to expireddomains.net. This one's ending in 2 days, $59 currently, lowcarprice.com. I don't know. What do you think of that phrase? Do people type that in? Well, we don't have to guess at it. Low car price, lowest car price, something like that. Ooh, SpyFu changed their graphics a little bit. So what we're going to do is I'm taking you over to this tool, this website here, which is spyfu.com. SpyFu, like, I guess, karate chop or something. Actually, I don't have a clue because anyhow. But spyfu.com, and what we use this for is, yes, you can trust your gut when it comes to stuff, but verify it through spyfu.com, lowcarprice.com. So my gut is guessing 400 to 600. No. Okay, here we go. So what this is showing us here, kind of a poor example of what we'll find, but there's very low search volume. You'll see that over here. There's not much really typing it in. So we're looking for a domain name where people type in the words that are in that domain name. So that way, when they find your domain name, it's very authoritative. It validates what they've searched for. What would you expect to find on low car price? I'd expect to probably find makes and models of cars in the lowest possible price for sale. It appears that nobody is doing that, though. Low price cars. The words are varied there. We want to get the exact match, but I'm not really seeing anything here that really goes with us. So no similar car price. Basically, this one I'm going to pass on. Kind of a bad start. Oh, okay. This is something here. So what we look for on SpyFu, and we'll see this throughout the show as we look at different domain names, we want to see volume. We want this number to be kind of as high as possible, usually in the hundreds, thousands is good as well. Then we want to see our keyword, the exact keyword of the domain name, mentioned over here in the similar keywords. That shows us that we can pick up additional traffic based on the content of our site. Then this over here, we won't look at questions until later. The questions allow us to know what kind of content to put on the site. Because remember, I don't know anything about low car prices. I don't know anything about selling cars. I don't expect you to know it either. So what this allows us to do is we find a domain name that's expiring. We determine if it has quality traffic and interest around that domain name. And then we're using this content, this data from SpyFu, to tell us not only if it's a good domain name, but then it tells us with these questions what content we can put on that domain name to build up traffic and show that we're experts in a field that we have nothing to do with. That is like freaking gold. Hopefully, you follow that? Does that make sense? Like, that's what we're looking for here. You'll see that there's really not much happening with questions for this one. As we scroll down, though, what has my interest on this is you'll see here the cost per click on the keywords low car price. People are paying over $2 per click, and there are 13 advertisers for that keyword. So even though it's small, there are 13 businesses out there paying money because they view it as a keyword that matters. So if you deal in used cars or anything like that, then, well, maybe this is a good domain name for you. But for development purposes, we're going to pass on it and move on out. Let me just check on chat, see if I missed anything or caught anything in particular. Okay. I like it. If I had a used car site, if I was already monetizing or making money with something, that would be a good add-on domain name. But if you're looking for a primary domain name, something that you can really, make some money off, make a couple $100 off, we're going to find better ones as we get going. And we're going to call that quits. Okay, well, we checked out Drop Catch, gave them a chance to impress us. You'll find when it comes to Drop Catch that it is very hit or miss. They're good sometimes. I've seen great domain names on there. I've picked up, I picked up bestedibles.com over there. I picked up several domain names on dropcatch.com, which is why I want to make sure you know about it. So that way, as you're going through and looking for domain names yourself, you have an opportunity to go to the same places as like an expert to find the best domain names. And you're not stuck in one avenue, which, yes, we go over here to the marketplace domains, GoDaddy expired. This is where we spend most of our time. We spend most of our time here because that's where the most domains currently are. It used to be like a Network Solutions or a NameJet or a Snap Names, which you can find all of those here on expired domains. So right here, SnapNet, pre-release domains. Where's NameJet, pre-release domains. You can still go check those. We don't look at them often, but you can look there and, again, look through those expiring domain names. Network Solutions used to be the GoDaddy of the 90s and early 2000s, but since, well, they suck, in my opinion, and pretty much most domain investors' opinion, everybody's left them and went elsewhere, which is why GoDaddy is now the place to find expiring domain names. My opinion, not some kind of full fact, but I don't keep my domain names with GoDaddy, but I love their domain expired domains. So we have our 7 filters set up over here on the GoDaddy domain names, same ones. We're looking for .com. We're looking for English 1 to 3 words. We don't want any just random characters in there. We don't want anything that doesn't make sense. We want English words that the general public, they'll hear, they'll know it matters to them, and they will, this domain name needs to validate the idea or the topic. It needs to provide authority to the people that are on it and or your site in itself. So by authority, where do you expect to find towing companies? Well, maybe towingcompanies.com. Well, there's towing companies on that site because we put them there. So the domain name needs to be very precise, generic, around a topic that ideally you can build something on and, well, make money. So that's what we're out to do here. So when we do GoDaddy domains, I'll bring you over to the side. We want to organize, instead of by price or listing type, we want to use this valuation here. One of the nice things that we get with GoDaddy is they try to place a value on the domain name using their proprietary appraisal. Do I believe in their appraisal? No, not at all. But it allows us to at least order those domain names by something to where it helps us to put the best ones on top, most of the time. Now, if you go through page after page of GoDaddy domains ordered by valuation, you'll often find, if you keep looking, you'll find plenty of $1,200 appraised domain names, $1,200 domains that are just fantastic. Great domains that you can build your project on and likely buy at auction for a couple $100 or less. So here we go. We're going to dive into these. Let me see. So we have those appraisals set up. And we can see that. So here we go. So now we're just going to look down through these. And again, these are over on GoDaddy. Just wondering what this top domain name is, but I don't really care. Okay, I'm going to skip it. Anybody else? And as we go through this, if you are following along on your own screen or on mine, if I do not talk about a domain name that you think would be great for development, call it out in chat. I'll check it out, and I can at least let you know either why I'm skipping the domain name, or we can go back and talk about it. Realistically, I do miss some. So Smart Buys, I do like that one. What do you expect to find on Smart Buys? I view it as like an overstock or an outlet type of domain name, something that just kind of gives you deals. I would not want to be in that business, but maybe that's you. Maybe you want to go out to eBay. Here's one of the things I actually used to do. I live on a really busy road in Cincinnati, Ohio, which go Bengals, making the Super Bowl. Cincinnati Bengals, like freaking awesome. Well, I live on a really busy road, and when I first moved there, I was like, maybe 16,000 cars a day. Actually, probably less than that, but a lot of cars drive by every single day. So I was like, let's have some garage sales each summer. And I went on eBay and I bought some bulk items. So some bulk phone chargers I think I got, and some bulk phone cases. So some different stuff. For like $20, you can go and buy like a dozen of these different things on eBay, or I think you can even get some on like bulk items on Amazon. But I went out there and bought these things, and then I would sell them at my garage sale when I had them for like $2 each. Now I paid 15, 20 cents each, sold them for $2. And if you were to buy them at retail, sure, they would go for, probably $20, $30 each. But they were outlet type stuff. So I sold them for $2, made good money. But those are the kinds of things I expect to find on a domain name like smartbuys.com, which currently is ends in 2 days, going for $14.25 is the current price. And let's scroll on down here. Let's go check out smartbuys.com over on SpyFu. And by check it out, I mean the keyword SmartBuys. So if you're into, selling out bulk items or something like that, and you want to build a brand, because it is more of a brand. I view it as a brand. So here you go. 290 people are searching for it. That means there's not a whole lot of volume as far as people searching for exactly Smart Buys. When you look over here, I'm looking at the similar keywords. Really nothing, no one's typing in Smart Buys, something like that. Like the similar keywords have nothing to do with it. Again, this domain name, not really seeing much. And now we don't even have this to hang on. So with the other domain name we were looking at, which was, lowcarbprice.com, lowcarbprice.com at least had a lot of people paying good money to reach that keyword. You'll see here with smartbuys.com, really nobody paying. There's one person paying $1 per click to get traffic for this. This looks like a big X. I'm gonna skip over this one. We're gonna keep moving on. Myphysician.com. I love so physician.com would be the better of the keywords. But My is a pretty good one to add on. what are you going to build on it, though? I can see that being like a My Chart type of thing, where you can maybe keep track of a physician, maybe ratings, reviews of them. Again, over $1,100. It's more of a brand than anything else. So if you're already in medical stuff, then sure, myphysician.com. Maybe it could be ratings, reviews, profiles of physicians, but I'm going to skip out on it and keep moving on rather than type that in and look at it. So let's go find some stuff. Local bank, that's a generic one. Do people search for local banks online? I'm not sure. We'll go check it out. So it's over $2,000, currently 5 days left, meaning it's going to get more expensive for localbank.com. I don't like this one. My gut says, even though the search traffic might be reasonable, it's garbage, but this is what I wanted to find. I wanted to look at this right here, local banks near me. We love to see near me. That tells us when we see the keywords that say near me as a similar keyword, not in the domain name. We don't want localbanksnearme.com. It's just too many words. It's garbagey. But what we like to do is type in the keywords of our domain name, and then we get to, when we see our keywords followed by near me, it tells us we can do local search on our domain name, similar to what I do at Dontoing.com, DJs.com, photoboost.com. Those people look for the local services. So local banks near me, there you go. 7,000 searches for that one. So even though local bank is only 500, the keyword that you kind of own the main domain name for, local banks near me, boom, 7,000 searches. So let's look if anybody is paying, well, $3. Ooh. Ooh. What? Okay, well, I didn't expect that. 25 advertisers paying over $3 per click. That's pretty big. Now, can you get a local bank to pay you, though? I don't know how that will work. I don't think so. Anybody out there know anything about banks? Anybody? I don't know. Maybe there's some. I love the money. I love the domain name's nice and clean. It's going to go for money. It's a good domain name. The only thing is, for development's sakes, I can't imagine calling up a local bank and being like, would you like to be on localbank.com for $20 a month, $40 a month, $60 a month? Anybody? I don't know. I'm going to skip on that one. Well, I'm going to skip out. I don't care for that domain name, but I love the data for it is what I'm saying. So you may want to pursue it with those kinds of keyword data, that kind of money. What's it going for? Okay, that's already over $2,000. So when you see a domain name going for 4 figures, 5 days left on that auction, that means it's likely going to go for what, $5,000-$6,000, possibly even into the 5-figure frame. You better have a way to make some money off that domain name. Otherwise, I don't know what you do with it. So it's definitely a good domain name, worth putting your domain investor hat on and possibly looking at. But I am going to skip that thing out. So there you go, localbank.com. Oh yeah, here we go. Matt's like, who dey? In fact, that's the Cincinnati Bengals cheer. There you go. Matt is a Cincinnati Bengals fan, I can tell you that. And he is probably hung over today. Yeah. And then Lee's giving us some information on that domain name that we saw coming in. Forskolin seems to be a weight loss plan extract product. That means it's probably a brand, I'm guessing, unless it's anyhow, not something I'm interested in, especially if it's a brand. You want to avoid brands. But that would explain maybe why it's going for so much money. So thanks for grabbing that for us, Lee. Appreciate that. Okay, moving on. Let's see what we can do. Lost keys, possibly a good. What's this one? You ever lose your car keys, lose your house key? You can probably do like a locksmith directory on it. $848, ending in 4 days. I kind of like this one a little bit. Let's go check it in. Maybe you can put together a service that somehow you can handle the lost key process for a car or something. Like you get the VIN number and somehow you contact the dealerships or the manufacturers to get new keys sent to you or something. Maybe. It sounds complicated, but we'll see. So 1,100 searches for that. So we do have some pretty good exact match keyword search for it. Then we look over here at the next column, Century Safe lost key. So that's people looking for the at-home fire safes and things like that. Oh, not sure what I just clicked on, but okay, refreshed. So not sure how you would do that. Maybe you can work with Century and you charge a fee and you are the broker that helps them get the keys they need for it, or you give them ways to break into their safe. Those things are really easy to get into. They're there to protect against fire, not to protect against theft. Like I can assure you, the one I have at my house, just you could with a screwdriver, I guarantee I can get it open. Okay, anyhow. Moving on. Lost car keys, same kind of thing. So lost keys. So some of these different keywords, you'll see lost key in the actual search, specifically this one up here. So if you put content on your site that is about getting, finding a lost key or replacing a lost key for a Century Safe, that gives you access to 2,000 additional keywords, right? 2,000 additional sets of eyes that come to your website, potentially get answers around that, how to find lost keys. So what kind of content would you put on this site? Maybe this stuff over here. Now let's go check the important piece, which is the money. Can you make money from the domain name? And it's looking like no. No, I'm not seeing much money here. So we only got one advertiser paying. Cost per click doesn't really matter if you only have one person. So what we're looking for with this advertising data is we want to know, we want there to be lots of competition. We want that number to be, as I say this, pretty much weekly, we want there to be double-digit advertisers, because what that's doing for us is it is making it to where there's competition, and those guys are in bloody waters. They're all just beating up on each other, trying to outbid each other, trying to find an edge to outcompete and win against each other. And if you come in with your great domain name and you call the advertisers and you're like, hey, I'm with lostkey.com, and we see that you offer a product service for this, and lostkey.com would be a great way to really set your company apart. Well, would you be interested in listing or featuring your company on lostkey.com for $45 a month, $60 a month, something along those lines? You can see how if they were paying $2 per click and really competing against a bunch of other people, how that just sounds good. Like it makes sense to them. It validates something they're already doing. It's providing authority, a way for them to kind of get an edge against the competition. That's what we're looking for. We don't see it here because there's only one person paying to get that keyword. So we're going to move on from lostkey.com, but a pretty good domain name, especially if you're a locksmith. So maybe if you have that idea of investment sake, if you're more of an investor, it's probably a pretty good investment domain name worth putting some money on. Although the thousands it's going for, we'll see. Let me see here. I am checking out the chat, and I see lots of Bengals talk. I was in Disney yesterday, and checking out, watching it on my phone, and it was kind of like, oh my gosh. And where was I? I was in Hollywood Studios, I believe is the park I was in, and I'm just sitting there watching the game, and like they won on a last second field goal, which is always an exciting thing. And I'm just kind of like listening to hear if anyone else in the park is cheering, because I'm like jumping up and down. I was kind of looking for somebody to run up to and like high five or something. There's nobody around. That's what you get for being a small town, small city. Cincinnati is pretty small. Okay. I'm kind of curious, like Lee out there, like internationally. You ever heard of Cincinnati before? Okay. Beach yoga? That sounds like fun. Startup consultant. Man, let's get past this first page. But these are pretty good domains. So this one ends tomorrow, startupconsultant.com. Let's go quickly over to the keyword data. So what would you expect to find on startupconsultant.com? I would expect to find some startup experts, right? Some people that help you with your startup, whether it's the marketing piece or your finances piece, or maybe, what do you form it as? Is it a corporation or an LLC? What kind of, all that different legal stuff. Group them all together. It's a little bit of a wordy domain name, right? Look how many characters that is. Startup consultant. Like, it's a lot of different characters and words related to that. 360 searches for it. Startup consulting jobs. Can you do anything with these? Maybe, maybe not. Let's go see what the keyword data. That's why I look for this domain name. See the spark? The spark hit my face when I see that. It's like there's money to be made on that domain name. Okay, so $3 per click, 13 advertisers, meaning there's competition for this. So what could you do with startupconsultant.com? I love the idea of, we build out that directory. This would be a national directory. As you saw in those keywords, there is not that near me, right? There's not startup consultant near me. So we're not going to go for the local stuff. You can certainly add local startup consultants, charge maybe a really low fee or something like that for just being, listed in a specific area. But what I am seeing with this domain name is more of kind of those, who are the coaches? What are the different, programs out there that or consulting programs that happen kind of on a national or global basis? So who are the startup consultants available there? So maybe not going to make, hundreds of thousands a month, but, certainly could probably pull off startupconsultant.com to show a bunch of startup consultants and get them to pay, $50, $100 a month. And maybe not. So it would also be a really good domain name for a single startup consultant, somebody that kind of wants to raise the bar and show that they maybe understand digital assets or domain names, seeing how they have startupconsultant.com. So we won't dive into that too terribly much unless somebody's really in love with it. So, for example, I might be a startup consultant in starting something up on a expired domain name. Would I pay to do that? No, I make no money off this. I do this just for you peeps because I love it and want to make sure that I can help you get as many expired domain names purchased and developed as possible, just because I want you to freaking live an awesome life. And back over to chat. Exactly. Absolutely no idea where Cincinnati is or how to spell it. Nobody ever does. Nobody knows how to spell Cincinnati. It took me forever to do it, and I feel like a genius whenever I can spell Cincinnati because I'm a horrible speller, as you all know. Moving on. Beach yoga, I think there's something to do with that. It'd be a good brand, certainly if you live on a beach and do yoga. It's not going to scale, but let's see what it's going for. If you get the domain name cheap, nope, not cheap, $2,000. So that's being purchased for more of a brand, right? Somebody wants to be branded as the beach yoga company, and they're going for that domain name. Not something that I would try to build a directory or some kind of profit center on. Bug Day, Grantor, Sonic Energy, Food Masters, Reservation Online. Not really feeling it. Looking for my page down key. I think we saw furniture manufacturers yesterday or last week. Don't like it. Just too long. Look how long that is compared to all these other domains. It's too many. I couldn't spell. Lee can't spell Cincinnati. I can't spell manufacturers. I mean, how many furniture manufacturers are there? Do the Amish pay to internet advertise? Maybe. I don't know. Do other countries have Amish? Is that just U.S. or not? Amish are like furniture makers. They're known for building stuff out of wood, and anyhow, I feel like I'm like in a gray area of insulting. I'm going to end up being Rogan, getting all messed up on Twitter. Okay, moving on. Here we go. Here's a blusher, xxxpornvideo.com, which we don't. Ooh, business toolbox. I like that one. I like that. That's a. So often when I think about what I do or what we create on a lot of our domain names, I call it a marketing toolbox, or like a internet marketing toolbox. The idea that you have different tools, right? You have different web tools on your platform. Business toolbox, though, I don't know. Let's see. $95 currently, ending in 6 days. Let's see what's going on, if there's any keywords. This is probably more of a brandable. I probably just get excited because I think I've said that rather than ever. Yeah. One advertiser paying 59 cents. So anybody in love with it? I'm not in love with it, so I'm going to skip over it. Let's get that off the screen. Get that crap off the screen. Coursemaker. Let's give it. I feel like I'm opening a lot of tabs here. Yeah, somebody loves this one. Man, we're finding a lot of $2,000 domain names today. Ends in 3 days. What I'm thinking with Coursemaker, this would be for those out there with a heavy programming hand, wanting to create something, wanting to work with video and images and that kind of thing. Coursemaker.com, I could see being a product that helps people put together digital courses. Maybe you film a video and then you chop it up, put in different lessons. So I think Skillshare, which I've mentioned I don't really like, but Skillshare is a place that you could do video courses, as well as, how we all go to YouTube, and which hopefully you're on YouTube right now, which hopefully you've already liked the video, subscribed to the channel. But if you're on YouTube trying to learn something, well, Coursemaker could be where you put your videos and organize them into a specific course that you can either charge for or just have some tools to organize it, and you charge some kind of monthly fee or to build a course. I don't. Maybe not. Let's see if anybody's searching for it. What's Coursemaker? The Coursemaker, the domain name makes me think more brand or a product that does it. 6 advertisers paying nothing. And this is kind of what I'm thinking here. So like, see this, like online course creator. That's kind of what I'm thinking. Something along that line, that idea, like we're helping people create their online courses, teaching people stuff. But since there's no money there right now, it's more of a brandable domain name, which when I say that, what I'm saying is it's more of a brand. Like it doesn't really, it could validate, could provide some authority, but it doesn't exist right now. People don't know what to necessarily find there, like Coursemaker. Now, for me, as I teach online stuff, yes, I think of digital web videos. Not sure if everybody else does. I mean, do you think of web videos and stuff? Coursemaker, I could see it being, actually, I don't know what it would be. Maybe if you're a chef, you're probably thinking, oh, we show people how to make courses for, is it spelled? Okay. I feel like I'm going off on a tangent with that. I do like the domain name. May end up being more of an investment rather than by investment. I mean, you buy it for as low as you can, try to find the perfect buyer and just treat it like real estate. Buy low, sell high, which we don't really look at for that. We're here to develop domain names. I want domains to be developed. Yeah, and leaves. That's exact. Like there are a lot of great. I mean, we're on page one, and I feel like they're great domains, but they're also tweener domain names, right? They're good enough to get our attention, but they're not like home run development domain names. They're home run investment domain names. When I put my domain development ears on, it really makes me think. It really makes me think like this domain name is worth something. It could be valuable to me if I wanted to spend a bunch of money on it and build out some crazy brand. But realistically, for the sake of being passive or building a simple brand, no, all these they're pretty complicated. They're pretty complicated. I'm sure I'm violating some kind of trademark thing. Good thing we don't make money off this show yet. Someday. Like an interactable PowerPoint. I'm guessing this is referring to HTML5 modules. So probably along the line, are you talking the course one, the Coursemaker? Yeah, I mean, there's stuff you could do with it. I mean, you could allow them to maybe add what is called lower thirds, which is kind of when you see the screen where it puts up your name and stuff. That's called a lower third. So you can help them do captions and do different things with the course. Maybe it sounds like a fun project to build. The question is how are you going to make money off of it? And what I want to bring to you here, Domain to Profit, is, hey, we find a domain name. There's like we work hard once to build something, and then it sits there and makes money. That's what we're kind of looking for. Like, how can we just take that domain name? It's valuable. We tap it and just kind of turn on the spigot and just have some money drop out on a monthly routine basis. That's what we're looking for. Some of those are just complicated. They're going to require some major development, which I'm not scared of hard work. It's just, if you remember 3 or 4 weeks ago, we talked about 2x2 decision making. You could spend your time on any number of different things. You can spend your time, you can spend your money, and you want to have an equal reward. If you're going to spend, you want to spend your time on the things that don't take much time, don't take much money, but produce a lot of reward, right? Well, a lot of these domain names, I feel like they could produce reward of some sort, but realistically, it seems like it's going to take a lot of time and a lot of money to get to that point. And that just, there's going to be a lot of projects that fall into that category. And what will end up happening is you're going to spend a couple $1,000s on a domain name, and then it's going to sit in the back of your portfolio, and you're never going to get around to it because you have too many other things that are a higher priority for you, rightly so. I own probably 100 some domain names that I know I'm probably never going to get to. Ratequoter.com comes to mind. I love that one. Just for the idea of quotes. I have a bunch of them along that, like dispatchdesk.com. Like they're good, and you hear the domain name and you can think about what you expect to find on it, but it's going to take a crap load of work to get it there. So it gets pushed down priority, and you have all these other domain names that are more important to you to develop. So why bother buying those on the lower side? Like, let's just concentrate on getting the ones in your hand that you will actually create and actually make some money on. Doesn't make money if they sit on it. And you know what I'm talking about. I'm sure we all, if you're watching this, you probably already have domain names that you're ignoring, right? I know you that well. I know you because that's how I am as well. All these domain names okay. Back on photoscanner.com. Is that still a thing? It used to be that you would print the photos, and then we all wanted to take the printed photos and scan them into our computers. Nowadays, we take them on our phones, take them on computers, and then we never print them off. So we almost need the opposite of Photoscanner. I'm going to skip over that one, although there's a point that domain name would be a pretty awesome domain. Cake Baker. Again, a near miss. I'm going to skip over it because I want to keep moving on. Selfless service, no. Paradise Bar. That sounds like a pretty good life. Paradise Bar, just run a bar in Paradise, a little tiki bar. Yes, you're late. Luckily, we found a bunch of good ones, but none of them have been home runs, and they've not ended yet, Darcy. So you're all is forgiven. But yeah, a lot of great domain names for investment purposes. Just we're still on page one. We're still on page one. So whether you're watching on Twitter, we do this over on LinkedIn, Facebook, I think even there's some over there. YouTube is our primary stream where you should certainly subscribe and like this video and subscribe, especially some people have mentioned you got to do that little bell. I will do some more impromptu streams. I almost did one last week because after the show, I realized another 6 domains that I wish we would have talked about on the show almost went live, but I was busy setting up my new studio and getting ready to go out of town. So, but I will go live. And when I do those impromptu shows, the only way to really know about them is to follow me on Twitter and or be notified when I go live on YouTube. So that way you can find out the stuff, know all the things. We had local bank earlier, then we got automatic bank. Bestfreedom.com. I think the bestfreedom.com is freedom. See, I started to talk bad, saying we had too many domains, and now we're starting to download tracks. I hate it when the domain name is like a really complicated way of saying something. It makes you think that it's a good domain name, but it's not. Okay, so we just went on the page 2 Foundly. Into our last 10 minutes of the show. I'm going to do a couple page downs. We'll hopefully find something great towards the end here. But as you can see, we're still, the GoDaddy valuation over here, still in the 2000s. I like to spend my time all the way down to about $1,200. I find consistently at least 1 or 2 good domain names all the way down there. If you keep going, you can find bargain domain names. Another option for you is on expireddomains.net. Set up saved searches. So you can add into your filters different keywords. So if you're looking, you can add a contain keyword, meaning the domain name includes like a certain keyword that you're looking for. Like if you're really wanting to concentrate on towing, for example, you might add in tow, and you want to make sure you concentrate and look for domains that have that in it. So now you can search through even more domain names and be very precise for what you're looking for versus what we're doing here on the show, which is page by page, just all through them. So if you already know your hobby, you know something you want to really focus on, those additional keywords would be the way to do it. Sometimes we do that. Not today, though. I am really shocked that my family, like, they've all like stayed, they like camera shy or something. They're all here. Like, they're all avoiding the camera. Okay. Yoga math. Settle your debt. Settle your debt. I used to know somebody, 6 days left in this one, $15 currently. Let's see if it has anything. I used to know somebody that helped fix like bad credit and your debt. I don't like the keyword your, though. I want it to be settle my debt. If I'm going to search, I'm going to search for settle my debt, not settle your debt, right? Settle your debt would be something you maybe put in a crappy TV ad. SettleYourDebt.com. Improve your credit score by 100 points, something like that. But settle your debt. I want it to be, if I'm searching, so for example, right now you can see there's only 20 searches. Let's see what happens when we do my. Now, doubled it. Still not all that good. But we do have these other keywords over here. Settle. How do I settle my credit card debt and things like that? So we'll keep moving on that one. So if you deal with that kind of debt, credit improvement, maybe settle your debt could be a good one. But again, settle my debt would be a better domain name for that. Ads. So in marketing advertising, you want to use you and your as part of what you say. So your debt, your opportunity, you have an opportunity to improve your credit. So that's what you want to use, you and your, but we all think in me and my. So when we're Googling or searching or typing in domain names or whatever, that's when we're going to be typing in my. So settlemydebt.com. Hopefully that's helpful information, a little psychology. Maybe not. One more page down. Let's see what happens. Kind of feel like there should be a drum roll. It's either going to be good or bad. Nope. Only one I'm kind of seeing here is maybe totalpopulation.com. If you want to put together like a world population tracker, there's a bunch of those out there. Could be fun. 3 days. I wouldn't care to do that. Not sure if they make any money. Best case scenario, they make some money off ads. So there you go. So we'll start to wrap things up here. I'm going to check over onto chat. And we got our Russian bots coming back. We appreciate you. We appreciate you, Russian bots. Okay, well, in that case, let me do a summary on the domain names that we found, and we'll wrap things up. So we just talked about settle your debt. I prefer settle my debt. So I'm going to kick that one out of here, but that one was one of the ones we talked about. We got Coursemaker.com for those ambitious programmers out there that have a ton of time, want to make and help people make courses. So maybe you've already put together some kind of course that you want to teach people. What Coursemaker.com is coming available in the next, ends in 3 days, $2,000 currently. That one could be one that you go with. Startupconsultant.com. Maybe if you're a startup consultant or do something to consult with startups, certainly a good domain name ending tomorrow, currently $960. But I would want to, as a domain developer, take that domain name, build some kind of directory that allows several different startup consultants in different categories or fields to advertise and be featured as a startupconsultant.com, some kind of monthly fee or annual fee. And there you go. I love the directory model for that one. Currently $1,000. I'm sure you can make your money back on it, but you'd have to love it. I don't love it. I'm not in on it. LostKey.com is probably my favorite one of the day. I like Lost Key just for the idea that if you want to go the ambitious route of trying to set up a service that allows people to, help them replace lost keys, I like the idea of going with locksmiths, putting them out there as well. Lost a key, call a locksmith type of thing. That one is under $1,000 currently, ending in 4 days. I anticipate that one will go probably $2,000 to $3,000. I might hop into that one, maybe up to like $1,200 or so. Not sure. I'll leave that one up, but that's lostkey.com, ending in 4 days. Local Bank was one of the ones that we talked about. Probably best one that fits our model. If you recall, over on SpyFu, Local Bank had Local Bank near me. So this one's a good one for local type stuff. Localbank.com, which is over on the GoDaddy auctions. That one was going for just over $2,000, ending in 5 days. I expect it to go for more. And the question is can you call a local bank and be like, hey, we want to list you on localbank.com for $45, $60 a month? I just don't see them. They want to hold the money, not pay money for advertising. Maybe I'm mistaken, but localbank.com is an option. One of the better domain names we talked about today. Myphysician.com didn't really come up with a great model for that one, but that one's ending in 3 days, $1,100 currently. And then smartbuys.com, that's the one that we talked about, how you could possibly get things like bulk from eBay and sell it one at a time on Smart Buys, or maybe you can allow people to set up stores to sell their bulk items, something like that. But more of a product-based thing. I can see it being like Overstock or those discount type items. That one's already up over $1,400, ending in 2 days. Great domain name, just not sure as far as development how that one's going to go for you. But those are the domain names that we brought up this week, all ending this week, all worth your time. And we've only made it just over one page of domain names. So let me check out what we were looking at. We had over 68,000 domain names. Let me share my screen out one more time just to show you that. So over 68,000 domain names. Oh, this side. Over 68,000 domain names using our filters. So certainly you can keep going down through these, looking for domain names, check them in SpyFu, and see what you think. I will mention, kind of here as last minute, one of those last minute tips for you. Somebody asked me about a domain name that was very medical type sounding domain name, had over 4,000 searches, exact searches in the search engines and on SpyFu, even had some advertiser type money behind it. They asked me if it was good. It was regarding toothpaste or something like that. And you just want to mention, like, just because that was a lot of searches doesn't mean you can develop it into money, right? So that's an important thing to say. Just because you see a high number on one place, which we saw that with, was it the car one? We had low car price. I think lowcarprice.com was one of the domain names we saw today. Just because it has a good amount of volume behind it doesn't mean it has the push that you would be able to develop it into profit. And that's an important thing to know is exact matches, a lot of keyword volume doesn't mean it's going to be developed. How would you develop? How would you make money off of it? Has to be one of the things that you're thinking about. And when it comes to those medical sounding or scientific domain names, most likely all those people are searching because they're like, what the hell is this ingredient on my toothpaste? And they're typing it in. Yes, inflates the numbers, but unless you have a way to turn that into money, you got to avoid that domain name. Don't let that turn into something that looks good to you. So there you go. Hopefully that's helpful. Well, we are going to wrap it up. Just checking out the chat real quick. Yep. See, Darcy, got to be here. You have to catch that on Restream. But yeah, Smart. That was a good one as well. There were some certainly good domain names. So thanks for checking in with us. I'm Drew Wash in Orlando for Domain to Profit today. Next week, I'll be back in Cincinnati, the Super Bowl town for those in the U.S. Excited for them to be able to be in the Super Bowl. So, and then also just in the last minute, just want to make sure I say happy birthday to my boy Chaz, who's often here on the stream with me, but he's not. He's an old guy, kind of like me. Been with me for a long time on the domain front, as you probably know. My number two. So he was the guy that sat across from me when I started towing.com and is still with me very much today. So happy birthday to you, bro. See you next week. I'll be back in Cincinnati, back in the green screen super studio that I'm building to talk about domain names, bring you some good stuff. Drew Wash, thanks for joining me. See you next week.